All right, we're back again for week number 2, the DDSN Golf Betting Show. Welcome back. Thank you for the new subscribers, those who viewed and cashing with us. Our first win of the season. Research hit the outright with Chris Gotterup, 75-1. We had a winning week. Started off the year hot rather. And let's get into the next one. After taking down Wildlife Country Club, we are a total of plus 69.53 units. Again, all of our bets are 1 unit to win X amount. All transparency. Once again, our outrights, we were 1 of 3. We got up to win. Our tournament plays were minus 3.6. Not ideal, but we did hit a couple, literally a couple. Chris Gotterup top 20. Research had him. And then I had Taylor Pendrift top 20. Ended up finishing top 10. Wish I had that ticket. But he made a great comeback after starting slow, and we dominated the matchups. Round 1, round 2, and round 3 was a bad day for us. We gave back basically 99% of our winnings, and we ended up being plus 0.13 units. Not amazing, but we'll take the plus money any day of the week because they don't mind taking it from us, right? So let's jump into it. Second tournament of the season, the American Express. And this is an interesting one because it's a pro-am and they play at 3 different courses. So they'll rotate day 1, 2, and 3, and then they'll have the final round. La Quinta Country Club is the first course, and PGA West Stadium course and the Jack Nicklaus Tournament course. All right, let's get right into it. Let's jump into our plays. Let's get another one, 2 in a row, at least a winning weekend. I'll be happy with that. Let's get into it. All right, let's start off with Research's pick. He is 1 for 1 on the season. He's got Daniel Berger at 55-1. You can find this, I believe, offshore number. I'll let y'all know if it's offshore or a U.S. number, and y'all could do the rest. Y'all can figure it out. All right, JT Poston. Haas has JT Poston. This is an offshore number, 80-1 to win. I like this play. And for myself, I have Christian Bezuidenhout at 100-1. You can find that in the United States. That's a great play. I like both of those. Daniel Berger, I was iffy on Chris Gotterup. He came through. Maybe Daniel Berger comes through this week. You never know. All right, let's get into our tournament wagers. And this is where we took our only loss last weekend. So hopefully we get bounced back and make up these units. We didn't go as aggressive at the top 10s. Haas usually attacks the top 10s. He's laying off it this week, and we have a surprise for you. We do have one first round leader play. Let's get into it. Right now, Research has top 20 Michael Thorbornsen plus 175 to finish in the top 20. That number includes ties. If you watch week 1 show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, top 20 Michael Kim plus 330 includes ties, and he's got a first round leader play, and that's Harry Hall, 20-1. Remember, all of our plays are 1 unit. If we win, we win. If we lose, oh well. That's how we calculate them. That's how we're going to bet them. You bet what you want. Again, we don't care if you're a $1, $2, $5, $100 golf bettor. As long as we end up with a plus number at the end of the weekend, that's all we care about. All right. Plus, like I said, he's not as aggressive this weekend with the top 10s, but he has one, and one that I kind of like as well, and that's Michael Kim. We're heavy on Michael Kim this week. Michael Kim top 10 plus 750. You can find that in US, includes ties. That number includes ties. He also has a top 20 on Max Homa plus 650, as well as Doug Gim plus 450. I like that one as well. And for me, I'm riding with him. Christian Bizu plus 275 to finish in the top 20. Another top 20 for me is Kendall, aka Kevin Roy, at plus 450. Mr. Secession himself. Also, he did well by me last weekend, and I'm going to ride him again this week, and that's Nick Dunlap, top 20 plus 425. Love it. I like where we're at right now in our tournament wagers. We need to make up for that loss minus 3.6, and I think we'll be able to do it. Let's jump into the round 1 matchups. Again, we started off hot on the matchups, cooled off in the 3rd round. We'll be sure to go through rounds 1 through 4 this weekend. Remember, like, subscribe, follow. We usually post these as soon as we have them. And, we have to wait for the sports books to post them, and then I usually post a short. So just check that every morning before tee off. We usually post them at least an hour or so before tee time. The first tee, typically 2 hours. That's with this West Coast schedule. As we get into the East Coast and the other United States tournaments, obviously we'll be posting those the night before, but we're a little ways from that. All right. So first round matchups, again, you can find these offshore, and then mine will be in the US. You do the math, you'll figure it out. Watch episode 1. Let's get into it. All right, Daniel Berger over Ludwig Oberg plus 113. JT Poston over Davis Thompson minus 105. And Wyndham Clark over Jacob Bridgman plus 105. Those are researches, 3 picks for the first round. Let's get with Haas. Haas has an upset pick. Russ Henley over Scotty Scheffler plus 189. He faded Russ Henley last weekend a couple times with Ben Griffin. Now he's jumping on the Russ train, buying low on Russ Henley to get the upset over Scotty. He also has Charlie Kirk, aka Chris Kirk, over Bizu plus 105. And then Michael Kim over Michael Brennan minus 110. I like it. Straight shot. Remember, Research and Haas, they carried me on the matchups. Last weekend, I did a poor job on my matchups. I need to bounce back. Here's my 3. I've got Kevin Roy over Mark Meisner plus 105. And I've got Ryo Hisatsune over Rico Hoey plus 146. And Brian Harmon over Max Homa minus 115. Mine are found onshore. All right. So that's pretty much what we have regarding our betting slate. We have our outrights, Daniel Berger, JT Poston, Christian Bezuidenhout, and then our tournament wagers that we went over, and then our round 1 matchups. Let's get into the DraftKings daily fantasy side of things. We have our betting portion, and then we also have our DraftKings portion, our daily fantasy portion. So the way we do this is we'll go over our 4 separate tiers, and that's our big dogs, the big higher salary players, and then our second tier, our tier right below the big dogs, and then our middle tier, and then our value picks. Let's go. First, we've got, obviously, let's just get this out of the way. Obviously, you could put Scotty Scheffler in, and you could build your own lineup around Scotty, but we're not going to do that. We're going to not go with Scotty, and we'll go, with everyone else. I don't really trust him, but he plays well here, and that's Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay at 10,400. That's a pretty solid pick. You save about $4,000 in salary, avoiding Scotty Scheffler. Also, we have Ben Griffin. He's right there, 10,200, as well as Sam Burns and Sepp Straka. Straka won here last year. He might be flying under the radar. Value number here at 9,200. That's pretty good for Sepp Straka. Past winner, past champion. Those are our big dog tier, right? So this is how we build our DraftKings lineups, DFS lineups, and we just build around. You pick 1 or 2 top players, and then you build them from there. All right, so here's our second tier. Siwoo Kim at 9,000. Also JT Poston. We're high on JT Poston. Of course, we're going to have him in our lineup. He's at 8,000. Again, that's a pretty nice pick right there at that price. Also, Bezuidenhout. Bizu, 7,700. It's a little high than he normally is, but again, he's played well here. Finished second place last year or the year before that, or a couple years. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's a nice price. Of course, I'm heavy on Bizu this weekend, so I've got him in my lineups. And also Killer Keith Mitchell, 7,500. It's kind of a huge difference between the very top tier in this tournament and the bottom and lower value players here. So pick accordingly. In our middle tier, of course, we're also heavy again on Michael Kim, 7,500. He's right there. Brian Harmon, 7,400. And a little sneaky pick here, the German, Matty Schmid, 7,100. And then Kevin Roy, who's just I believe he has the same salary, 7,100. I like Kendall Roy, Mr. Secession himself, to have another strong weekend like he did last weekend. I believe he could build on that. He's played well here. Kevin Roy's sneaky play for me. And then our bottom value tier, and that's Nick Dunlap. Again, Nick Dunlap has played well here. He played well last weekend, and I think that can carry over to this weekend. So I'm buying low on Nick Dunlap, I love it, 7,000. Also, this is Haas's guy, and I also like the way he tracks here. Doug Yim, 6,800. Tom Hoagie fell off towards the end of last year. He's played well here. Can he finish the tournament strong? Usually strong in the first couple rounds. We need him to finish strong. So I like him at 6,500. Again, if you're going with a Scotty lineup, a Patrick Cantlay lineup, Tom Hoagie's a good player to add to the bottom of that. And last but not least, I've got two. One honorable mention, but Ryo Hisatsune, we like him here, 6,300. That's a nice price for him. He's played well here before. I believe it was last year. He got a top 10, top 15. So Rio here works perfectly. Honorable mention, speaking of flying under the radar, how about Tony Finau? I believe that's a great pick, and I forgot to add him on my top 20 as well. But he just, like I said, he's honorable mention. He just missed the cut. But I'm telling you right now, keep an eye out for Tony Finau. I think he has a great weekend after playing terrible last week. Look for Tony Finau to have a big tournament. And that's what we have for our DFS. Again, our outrights, we killed it last weekend. Research had Chris Gotterup. We cashed it. We finished the whole tournament plus 69.3 units. We're looking to bounce back for our tournament wagers and our matchups. We were fire until the third round, and we didn't do the fourth round for whatever reason. But now we're locked back in. Thanks for following. If you have questions, just leave it in the comments. Thanks for liking, subscribing, trolling us, whatever. As long as you subscribe. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning for a second round matchups. All right, see y'all.